The smell hit her first. Before the knock. Before the yelling. Before the police lights washed over her bedroom wall at 3 a.m. It was thick, sour, and impossible to ignore. And as she gagged and slammed her window shut, I smiled, because in that moment, she was finally living next to exactly what she had called my friend. Trash. If you've ever watched someone look down on a person who is already struggling, if you've ever wanted justice that doesn't involve shouting or fists but lands so much harder, hit that like button, subscribe, and settle in, because this one is slow, personal, and incredibly satisfying. I live in a narrow, tightly packed neighborhood called Maple Row, just outside downtown Brighton Falls. Old houses, thin fences, barely enough space between yards to breathe. You hear your neighbor's phone vibrate. You smell their dinner. Privacy is more of a suggestion than a rule. Most of us know how to coexist. Most of us understand that when people are struggling, you give them grace. Marianne lived next door in a pristine white townhouse that never seemed to age. Perfect hedges. Curtains always pressed. Her voice sharp enough to cut glass. She had this way of looking at people like they were stains she couldn't scrub out of her life. Now, my friend Evan had been missing for weeks. Evan was the guy who always showed up early, always helped clean up, always checked in. And then suddenly, silence. No texts, no calls, nothing. When he finally came by one evening, I barely recognized him. His shoulders were hunched, his beard untrimmed, dark circles carved under his eyes like he hadn't slept in days. His clothes smelled like the inside of a bus station. Not because he didn't care, but because life had clearly stopped caring about him. He stood on my porch, holding a plastic grocery bag with all his belongings, and smiled like he was apologizing for existing. We hugged him, fed him, let him sit in silence. And that's when Marian opened her window. She leaned out, eyes flicking over Evan from head to toe, lips curling. "Unbelievable," she muttered loudly enough for everyone to hear. Trash just wandering the neighborhood now. The word didn't echo. It sank. I felt heat rush to my face. Evan froze. His shoulders stiffened, like he'd been slapped in public. He didn't say anything. Just looked down. That was the moment something inside me snapped. Quiet and cold. Not explosive anger. Controlled resolve. Marian didn't know it yet, but she had crossed a line that doesn't uncross. We didn't yell back. We didn't confront her. We didn't give her the satisfaction. We helped Evan inside. But that night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard the word again. Trash. I thought about how easy it was for her to say that from behind clean glass, with air conditioning humming, never having known what it feels like to lose everything. A week later, my in-laws came over for dinner. They'd been on this environmental kick for years, always pushing composting, sustainability, reducing waste. You've got the space. My mother-in-law said casually, "You should start a compost pile." Normally, I shut that idea down instantly. City living, closed houses. It felt inconsiderate. But this time, something clicked. Slowly, quietly, I looked out the kitchen window, right at Marianne's house, right at her bedroom window, and I smiled. We researched everything. Technically legal. Proper distance from structures. On our property. Right along the shared fence. We built it carefully, intentionally, and we did not hold back. Food scraps, chicken bones, spoiled leftovers, coffee grounds, potato peels, dog waste, everything that politely disappears from your life once you throw it away. Summer arrived right on time. The heat baked that pile like an oven. Marianne had no air conditioning. The first morning, I heard her window slam shut, so hard the glass rattled. By day 3, she was coughing. By day 5, she was furious. She stormed over, face red, nostrils flaring. "What is that smell?" she demanded. I leaned against the doorframe. Calm, almost friendly. "Oh, that?" I said. "Just compost." She exploded, threatened, yelled, called the police. They came, looked, shrugged. "Perfectly legal," one officer said, her face drained of color. For weeks, we kept our windows closed. AC running. Life comfortable. She suffered in the heat with every breath. One afternoon, she cornered me again, voice cracking. "You can't live like this," she said. "It's disgusting." I looked her dead in the eyes and smiled softly. "Well," I said, "you're living next to trash, right? What did you expect?" She had no answer. The real payoff wasn't the smell. It was watching her change. She stopped sneering, stopped commenting, stopped looking down on people. One evening, I saw her quietly close her curtains when Evan walked by, head held higher now, clean clothes, steady steps. She never apologized. She didn't have to. Justice had already moved in next door. Some people think words are harmless. They aren't. They stick. They shape. They wound. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't loud or violent. It's letting someone live with the weight of what they chose to be. If this story hit something deep in you, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying karma you've ever witnessed? More stories are coming. And trust me, some people really do ask for what they get.